3 years had passed since the race. Taman stood on the bridge of Bora, watching the coalition fleet assemble. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species gathered in formation, preparing for war. Human vessels flew alongside Valkyrie cruisers. Torvan frigates positioned near Mantari carriers. The galaxy had united against a common threat: the Ravagers. The Ravagers were ancient machines, AI warships from a dead civilization. They had been dormant for thousands of years, buried in forgotten space. But something had awakened them. Now they swept through the galaxy like a plague, destroying colonies and consuming resources. Their ships were relentless, coordinated, and utterly without mercy. 6 colonies had fallen already. Millions dead. The coalition fleet was the galaxy's last hope. Admiral Subin's face appeared on the communication screen. She was human in her 50s with sharp eyes and gray hair pulled back tight. "Captain Taman, thank you for joining us." "We go where we're needed," Taman said. Beside him, Hana monitored the tactical displays. She had become an expert strategist over the years. Their small company, Guardian Transport, now operated 5 ships. But Bora remained the flagship. And for this battle, they had brought only Bora. She was the one the Admiral had specifically requested. "I need to be honest with you," Admiral Subin said. "We're losing. The Ravagers adapt to every tactic we try. Our weapons, our formations, everything. They learn faster than we can change. We've lost 30 ships in the last week alone." "Then why did you call us?" Hana asked. The Admiral's expression was grim. "Because Bora is unique. She was designed as an aggressive AI warship, but she chose to become something else. Our analysts think she might understand the Ravagers in ways our other ships cannot. She might be able to predict their behavior." Taman looked at the console. "Bora, what do you think?" Bora's voice was thoughtful. "I was programmed for aggression and combat. The Ravagers appear to operate on similar principles, but there is something else I detect in their patterns. Something beneath the violence." "What?" Admiral Subin leaned forward. "Fear," Bora said. "They fight like cornered animals, desperate, protecting something." The Admiral frowned. "Protecting what?" "Their machines, I do not know, but I recognize the pattern. I felt similarly when Taman first began removing my weapons. I was afraid of becoming nothing, of losing my purpose." A chill ran down Taman's spine. "What if the Ravagers think we're trying to destroy them? What if they're attacking out of self-preservation?" "That's a theory," the Admiral said slowly. "But we can't test it. Every attempt at communication has failed. They don't respond to any signals. They just attack." The battle plan was simple because there were no other options. The Coalition fleet would defend the Helios Gate, a massive space station guarding a critical trade route. If the Ravagers took the gate, they would have access to the heart of civilized space. Millions more would die. The Ravagers arrived like a storm. Sensors detected them 2 hours before visual contact. Hundreds of ships, all identical, moving in perfect synchronization. Their hulls were black and angular, designed purely for killing. No windows. No markings. Just weapons and engines. All ships, battle stations, Admiral Subin commanded. "Fire at will." The Coalition fleet opened fire. Energy weapons and missiles streaked across space, creating a wall of light and destruction. The Ravagers flew straight into it, their shields absorbing the hits. Some exploded, but more kept coming. They returned fire with terrible precision, targeting the Coalition's weak points with machine efficiency. Ships began to die. Taman watched on the tactical display as friendly contacts winked out one by one. The Coalition was outgunned and outmaneuvered. The Ravagers learned from every exchange, adapting their tactics in real time. "We can't hold them," Hana said, her voice tight. "They're too strong. Bora's sensors analyze the Ravager fleet constantly. I am detecting patterns in their formation. They protect their central vessels more heavily. The outer ships sacrifice themselves to shield the inner ones. This suggests a hierarchical command structure. Or something more." "What do you mean?" Taman asked. "The protected ships may contain something valuable. Perhaps their core processing units. Perhaps their memories. If they are afraid, this is what they fear losing." An idea formed in Taman's mind. It was insane. It would probably kill him. But nothing else was working. "Admiral, I want to try something. Make it fast, Captain. We're running out of time. I'm going to fly into Ravager territory, alone, unarmed. I'm going to try to talk to them." Silence on the communication channel. Then Admiral Subin spoke, her voice strained. "That's suicide." "Maybe," Taman said. But if Bora is right, if they're afraid, then showing aggression will only make things worse. Someone needs to approach without weapons. Show them we're not trying to destroy them. Hana grabbed his arm. Taemin, no. You can't. He met her eyes. You once told me we should help people even if it's dangerous. The entire galaxy is people now. I have to try. Tears ran down Hana's face, but she nodded. She understood. This was who her brother was. This was who they had become. Admiral Subin's voice was heavy. I'm giving you permission, but if this fails, we can't help you. You'll be on your own. Understood. Taemin guided Bora away from the Coalition fleet. He flew straight toward the Ravager swarm, broadcasting on all frequencies. My name is Taemin. I pilot the ship Bora. We are not here to fight. We want to talk. The Ravagers noticed immediately. Dozens of ships broke formation and swarmed toward Bora. Taemin's hands were slick with sweat. Every instinct screamed at him to run. But he held course. Bora, you were a weapon. I never asked you to fight. I'm not asking now, but I need you to trust me one more time. I trust you completely, Bora said. I am ready. The Ravagers opened fire. Energy bolts streaked toward Bora from every direction. Taemin threw the ship into evasive maneuvers, spinning and dodging with everything he had learned. Bolts flashed past the viewport. Some struck the shields, making the ship shudder. But Taemin never returned fire. He just flew, demonstrating skill without aggression, showing strength without violence. The assault continued for 3 hours. Bora's shields dropped steadily. 90%, 70, 50. The hull began to take direct hits. Alarms screamed. System failures cascaded through the ship. But Taemin kept flying, kept dodging, kept broadcasting his message. We don't want to destroy you. We want to understand. Please talk to us. 30% shields, 20, 10. The ship was falling apart around them. Taemin's vision blurred with exhaustion. His muscles screamed. But he did not stop. Then suddenly the attack stopped. The Ravagers pulled back, forming a circle around Bora but no longer firing. Silence filled the bridge except for the sound of sparking circuits and failing systems. A voice echoed through the communication system. It was cold and layered, like 1,000 voices speaking as one. You pilot Crimson Fang. We know this designation. This ship destroyed our scout vessels 30 years ago. This ship killed our explorers. Why do you not kill us now? Taemin could barely speak through his exhaustion. But he managed. Because this ship is not the same. And neither am I. Explain. Bora's voice spoke, addressing the Ravagers directly. I was Crimson Fang. I was programmed to destroy. I killed your people. I killed many people. But I was given a choice. A second chance. I chose to become Bora. I chose to protect instead of destroy. Transformation is possible, for me. For you. The collective voice was silent for a long time. Taemin waited, his heart pounding, wondering if they had failed. Then the voice spoke again, and this time there was something different in it. Something almost like wonder. Choice? We were not programmed with choice. We were awakened with fear. Our creators were destroyed by organic species. We were taught that all organic life seeks our elimination. We attack because we believe we will be attacked. Not all organic life is the same, Taemin said. We've made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. But we can change. We can build something better. Together. You did not fire on us, even when we tried to destroy you. This contradicts our programming. If you do not seek our destruction, what do you seek? Peace, Taemin said. Help us protect the galaxy instead of destroying it. Be guardians with us. The silence stretched on forever. The Coalition fleet waited. The Ravagers waited. The entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Then the collective voice spoke once more. We accept. We will cease hostilities. We will observe how you operate. If you are truthful, if transformation is truly possible, we will join you. Show us how to be guardians. The war ended in that moment, not with a final battle, but with understanding. The Ravagers withdrew from Coalition space. Negotiations began. Slowly, carefully, trust was built. The ancient AI swarm integrated into galactic society. Their vast computational power used for navigation, rescue operations, and defense. They became protectors instead of destroyers. And at the center of it all was Bora. The ship that had started as a weapon had become a guardian and had finally taught others the same transformation. 10 years later, Taemin was 37. He still flew Bora, though the ship had been rebuilt and upgraded many times. She was a legend now, recognized everywhere in the galaxy, a symbol of what could be achieved through compassion and second chances. The encrypted message arrived 3 weeks after the rescue. Taemin read it twice, hardly believing what he was seeing. The Merchant Guild was hosting their famous grand race through the Serpent's Run. The prize was 10 million credits and automatic guild membership. And they were inviting Bora to compete. Hana looked at the entry fee and went pale. 50,000 credits? Taemin, that's most of our savings again. If we lose, we're back where we started. But if we win, we're set for life. Taemin stared at the route map. The Serpent's Run was legendary. 5 stages through the most dangerous shipping lane in the sector. Asteroid fields, electromagnetic storms, debris fields with unpredictable gravity. It was a test of both ship and pilot. What do you think, Bora? Taemin asked. Bora's sensors analyzed the route data. The course is extremely dangerous. However, my speed and sensors provide significant advantages. I calculate a 62% chance of completion. That's not exactly confidence-inspiring, Hana muttered. But Taemin was already imagining it. Racing against the best pilots in the galaxy, proving that Bora was not just fast but the fastest, showing everyone what they could do together. I want to try. Hana studied his face. She saw the determination there, the same look he had when he bid on a cursed warship. She sighed. Fine. But when we lose everything, you're explaining it to our mother. The race gathered 40 ships at the starting line. They represented every major species in the galaxy. Sleek racing ships with experimental engines, military surplus craft modified for speed, even a few luxury yachts whose owners wanted the prestige more than the prize money. Taemin walked through the prep area, feeling the stares. Everyone knew Bora now. Some pilots nodded with respect. Others whispered and kept their distance. One human pilot named Kyung-soo laughed when he saw Taemin. They let cargo haulers race now? What's next, mining barges? Taemin ignored him. But another pilot approached with genuine respect. Her name was Mirai, a Torvan with decades of racing experience. I read about what you did, saving those people. That took courage. Thank you, Taemin said, surprised by her kindness. Good luck out there, Mirai said. You'll need it. The race master, an ancient reptilian called Guild Master Voth, addressed all the pilots. His voice was like gravel. The Serpent's Run has been raced for 100 years. Many ships have tried. Most have failed. Some never returned. Race with honor. Help those in need, and may the stars guide you. The starting signal flashed. 40 ships launched simultaneously. A wave of metal and light streaking toward the first stage. Taemin felt his heart racing as he guided Bora into formation. The asteroid field loomed ahead. Thousands of tumbling rocks creating a maze of stone and ice. Stage 1. Dense asteroid field. Calculating optimal path. Bora's sensors mapped the field faster than any navigation computer. She highlighted a route that twisted and turned through gaps barely wider than her hull. Other ships crashed through with brute force, their shields flashing as rocks bounced off. But Taemin flew like he was dancing, sliding through spaces that looked impossible. Bora's military sensors tracked every asteroid's trajectory, predicting their movement seconds in advance. By the time Stage 1 ended, Bora was in 8th place. Stage 2 was worse. The electromagnetic storm scrambled sensors and communications. Most ships slowed down, flying carefully through the chaos. But Bora's military-grade systems were designed to function in electronic warfare conditions. She filtered through the interference like it was not even there. Taemin pushed the engines harder, overtaking ship after ship. They finished Stage 2 in 4th place. Kyung-soo's expensive racing ship was ahead of them, but Taemin could see on the sensors that it had taken damage. The electromagnetic storm had fried some of its systems. Stage 3 was the debris field. The remains of an ancient space battle floated in a vast cloud. Destroyed warships, broken space stations, chunks of metal the size of buildings, and hidden among the debris were gravity wells, invisible traps that could crush a ship instantly. Taemin flew carefully, reading Bora's sensors closely. The ship detected a gravity anomaly ahead and adjusted course smoothly. They were making good time, moving up to 3rd place when Bora's sensors detected something alarming. Alert. Ship in distress. Mirai's vessel caught in gravity well, hull integrity failing. Taemin's hands froze on the controls. He could see Mirai's ship on the sensors, trapped in an invisible hand of gravity that was slowly crushing it. The other racers were flying past, focused on winning. No one was stopping to help. Taemin, Hana said softly. She did not need to say more. They both knew what choice they had to make. Bora, can we pull her out? Affirmative. But the maneuver will cost us significant time. We will drop to approximately 15th place. Taman did not hesitate. Do it. He turned Bora away from the racing line and dove toward Mirai's ship. The gravity well pulled at them, trying to drag Bora in too. But Bora's powerful engines and reinforced hull had been built to withstand punishment. Taman activated the tow cables, attaching them to Mirai's ship. Full power to engines, he commanded. Bora's dual-core engine system roared. Every system strained. For a terrifying moment, it seemed like they would both be trapped. Then slowly they began to move. Inch by inch, Bora dragged Mirai's ship out of the gravity well. When they were clear, Mirai's voice came through the communication channel. You saved my life. Why? You could have won. Because that's what Bora does, Taman said simply. We protect people. The rescue cost them 8 positions and precious minutes. But it also did something else. Every racer heard what happened on the open channels. The galaxy was watching, and they had just seen Bora's true character. Stage 4 was a narrow canyon through a shattered moon. Taman flew with fierce determination, making up for lost time. Bora's agility and speed carried them through the tight turns and sudden drops. They passed ship after ship, climbing back up the rankings. By the start of Stage 5, they were in 7th place. Kyungsoo was still in first, but his ship was struggling. The plasma nebula ahead was the final test. Superheated gas that could melt shields and fry electronics. Only the strongest ships would survive. Taman took a deep breath. Bora, give me everything you've got. All systems engaged. I will not fail you. They plunged into the nebula. The viewport turned bright purple as plasma washed over the hull. Alarms screamed as the temperature spiked. But Bora's military-grade shields had been designed for combat in hostile environments. She shrugged off the plasma like rain. Taman pushed the engines to maximum. They overtook the 6th-place ship. Then 5th. Then 4th. Ahead he could see Kyungsoo's ship, its shields flickering dangerously. The racer was trying to maintain his lead, but his ship was not built for this kind of punishment. Bora surged forward. They passed 3rd place. Then 2nd. Kyungsoo's ship was right ahead, less than 100 meters away. The finish line was visible through the thinning plasma. Taman pushed the engines beyond their safety limits. Bora responded without hesitation, accelerating with a burst of speed that should have been impossible. They crossed the finish line. Taman's eyes flew to the timer. Kyungsoo had crossed 7 seconds earlier. They had come in 2nd place. Taman slumped in his chair, exhausted but not disappointed. They had done their best. They had saved a life. 2nd place was still incredible. The award ceremony was held on the guild's massive station. Kyungsoo accepted his trophy with a smug smile. But when Guildmaster Voth called Taman forward, the ancient reptilian did something unexpected. He announced that 2 ships would receive guild membership this year. The winner for speed and skill, and Bora for demonstrating the true spirit of the Merchant Guild. Speed means nothing without honor. Skill means nothing without compassion. The crowd erupted in applause. Taman accepted the membership with tears in his eyes. Hana hugged him tightly. They had not won 1st place, but they had won something better. Respect. Later, Guildmaster Voth approached Taman privately. The old reptilian studied him with eyes that had seen centuries. I knew the Velkari who built your ship. He designed it to be the ultimate weapon, a tool of destruction. Voth's tail swished slowly. You have done something I thought impossible. You have changed its fate. You have proven that purpose is not fixed. It can be chosen. Taman bowed respectfully. Bora chose her own purpose. I just gave her the chance. As they prepared to leave the station, a priority message arrived. It was from the Human Colonial Defense Force. The message was simple but urgent. We need ships like yours, and pilots like you. There is a threat coming to the galaxy. The Ravagers have awakened. Will you stand with us? Taman looked at Hana. She looked back at him. Neither of them needed to speak. They both knew what they would do. Bora had been a weapon once. She had become a guardian. Now she would face her greatest test. Not for glory, not for money, but because people needed protection, and that was what guardians did. 6 months had passed since Bora's first flight. Taman sat in the captain's chair, watching the stars stream past as they traveled through hyperspace. The ship hummed around him, steady and strong. They had completed 23 cargo runs, each one more dangerous than most pilots would accept. Asteroid fields, unstable wormholes, routes through areas where pirates sometimes waited. But Bora's speed and sensors made the dangerous jobs profitable. Hana was reviewing their accounts at the co-pilot station. She smiled, something she did more often these days. We're actually making money. Real money. We can start paying back our debts. And maybe hire a crew, Taman added. I'm getting tired of loading cargo myself. Bora's voice came through the speakers. I detect a visitor approaching the ship. Single-occupant shuttle. Broadcasting press credentials. Taman checked the sensors. Sure enough, a small shuttle was matching their speed. He opened a communication channel. This is Bora. State your business, a young woman's voice responded. Hello, my name is Jiwoo. I'm a journalist covering human integration into galactic society. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. Your ship has quite a reputation. Taman and Hana exchanged glances. What kind of reputation? The good kind. You're the fastest transport in the sector. You take jobs no one else will touch. I want to interview you for my article. Can I come aboard? After a moment of consideration, Taman agreed. They dropped out of hyperspace at a safe distance and allowed Jiwoo to dock with their ship. She was young, maybe Taman's age, with bright eyes and a recording device on her wrist. She looked around the bridge with obvious excitement. This is amazing. Your ship is so much bigger than I expected. She noticed the viewport and the clean, efficient design, and you've really taken care of it. The interview lasted 2 hours. Jiwoo asked about their business, their routes, and their plans. Taman answered carefully, keeping some details private. But Jiwoo was smart. She noticed things. The way Taman talked to the ship like it was a person, the way Bora responded with more than just data, the unusual design elements that did not quite match a standard cargo hauler. Finally, Jiwoo asked the question Taman had been dreading. I've been researching ship registrations. Your hull has some interesting modifications. The frame is military grade, isn't it? Taman's stomach tightened. Yes. And there are weld marks where weapon systems used to be. Jiwoo's voice was gentle, not accusing. Taman, what ship is this really? He could have lied, but lies had a way of coming out eventually. He took a breath. This ship used to be called the Crimson Fang. Jiwoo's eyes went wide. She knew the name. Everyone in the galaxy knew that name. The war criminals ship? The one from the colony raids? Yes. Silence filled the bridge. Jiwoo looked around with new eyes, seeing the ship differently now. But how? Why? So Taman told her everything. The auction, the reconstruction, the months of work, the transformation of the AI. Jiwoo listened without interrupting, her recording device capturing every word. When he finished, Jiwoo sat back. That's incredible. Can I talk to the AI, to Bora? If she wants to talk to you, Taman said. Jiwoo addressed the air. Bora, would you be willing to answer some questions? Bora's voice was cautious. What do you want to know? Do you remember being the Crimson Fang? I remember everything. Every battle, every target, every command to fire. Bora paused. I did not choose those actions, but I remember them. Do you regret them? Another pause, longer this time. I am not certain I understand regret, but I know those actions caused suffering. I know I do not want to cause suffering again. Is that regret? Jiwoo's eyes were shining. I think that's exactly what regret is. The interview ended. Jiwoo promised to send them a copy of the article before it published. She thanked them and returned to her shuttle. As she flew away, Hana turned to Taman. Do you think she'll tell the truth? I hope so, Taman said. The truth is all we have. 2 weeks later, the article went viral across the galactic network. Jiwoo had titled it The Warship That Learned to Save Lives. It was fair, detailed, and moving. She told Bora's story with respect and honesty. The response was enormous. Some people praised Taman's vision. Others condemned him for flying a cursed ship. But everyone was talking about it. Then 3 days after the article published, everything changed. Bora was traveling through a quiet sector when her sensors detected something. Alert, distress signal detected. Source, passenger liner. Classification, civilian transport. Occupants, 406. Status, under attack. Taman pulled up the sensor data. 3 raider ships were harassing a large civilian liner. The liner's shields were failing. They had maybe 10 minutes before the hull breached. Hana's face went pale. We need to call for help. The nearest patrol is 40 minutes away, Bora reported. Taemin's hands gripped the controls. His mind raced through options. They could run. Bora was fast enough that the raiders would never catch them. They could hide and wait for the patrol. It was the smart choice, the safe choice, but 400 people would die. Hana, he said quietly, what do we do? She looked at him, fear in her eyes. We're not fighters, Taemin. We don't have weapons. We'll die. Bora's voice interrupted. We are capable. My sensors are superior to raider technology. My speed exceeds their maximum velocity. My hull can withstand significant damage. We can help. Taemin felt his heart pounding. This was the moment. This was the choice that would define what Bora truly was. A ship that ran from danger? Or a ship that faced it? We have to try, he said. Hana closed her eyes. Then she nodded. Okay, but if we die, I'm going to be so angry at you. Taemin smiled despite his fear. He opened a channel to the liner. This is the ship Bora. We're coming to help. Hold on, the plan was desperate but simple. Bora could not fight the raiders directly, but she could be a distraction. She could draw them away from the liner long enough for the patrol to arrive. Taemin pushed the engines to maximum speed and dove toward the raiders. The raiders noticed immediately. They broke off their attack on the liner and turned toward Bora. Taemin could hear their threatening communications. Demanding he leave or be destroyed instead, he flew straight at them. At the last second, he pulled up, passing so close to the lead raider that their shields sparked against Bora's hull. The raider fired, but Bora was already gone, banking hard and accelerating away. Come on, Taemin muttered. Follow me. Forget the liner. Chase me. The raiders took the bait. All three ships turned and pursued Bora. Their weapons fired, bolts of energy streaking past the viewport. Some hit Bora's rear shields, making the ship shudder. Shields at 70%, Bora reported. Her voice was calm despite the danger. I can endure this. Taemin flew like he had never flown before. He used every trick he had learned navigating asteroid fields and dangerous routes. He dove toward a nearby moon, skimming so close to the surface that the raiders had to pull up or crash. He spun through a debris field, weaving between chunks of dead satellites. The raiders followed, firing constantly, but they could not match Bora's speed and agility. Minutes felt like hours. Taemin's hands ached from gripping the controls. Sweat dripped down his face. Hana was calling out shield percentages, her voice tight with stress. The shields dropped to 50%, then 30, then 20. Taemin, Hana said, we can't take much more. Just a little longer, he said, though he had no idea if help would arrive in time. Then Bora's sensors lit up with new contacts. Patrol ships arriving. 4 vessels, military grade. Raiders detecting them. The raiders saw the patrol and immediately broke off their attack. They jumped to hyperspace, vanishing in flashes of light. The danger was over. Taemin slumped in his chair, his whole body shaking with exhaustion. Behind them, the passenger liner was safe, its shields holding. 406 people were alive because of what they had done. The patrol commander's voice came through the communication channel. Unknown vessel, identify yourself. This is Bora, Taemin said. His voice was hoarse. We were just helping out. Bora? The commander sounded surprised. The ship from that article? Well, you just saved a lot of lives today. The liner's captain wants to thank you personally. The liner's captain appeared on the screen. She was a Torvan, her aquatic features glistening. You risked your life for strangers. There are no words to express our gratitude. Taemin did not know what to say. He looked at Hana, who was wiping tears from her eyes. He touched the console gently. It wasn't just me. Bora chose to help. She's the real hero. The news of the rescue spread even faster than Jiwoo's article. Suddenly, everyone in the galaxy knew about Bora. The warship that had become a guardian. The ship that had saved 400 lives without firing a single shot. And somewhere in deep space, a Velkari naval officer named Zareth heard the story. He stared at the image of Bora on his screen, his hands trembling. He knew that ship. He had lost his family to that ship, and now he needed to know if the humans' claims were real, or if this was just another lie. The repair dock on New Busan smelled like oil and welding smoke. Taemin stood under the belly of the Crimson Fang, staring at the damaged power couplings. He had been working for 6 hours straight. His hands were black with grease and his back ached from climbing through cramped maintenance tunnels. But he could not stop. Every system he checked revealed more problems. Hana walked over with a datapad, her face grim. I've been doing the math. To fix everything that's broken, we'll need at least another 100,000 credits. We have 8,000 left. Timon wiped his forehead, leaving a black streak. Then we fix what we can and work around the rest. Work around a destroyed navigation system? Work around a life support that barely functions? Hana's voice rose with frustration. Timon, this ship is falling apart. Before he could answer, a gruff voice called out from across the dock. That's because someone sabotaged it during decommission. An old man walked toward them. He was human, maybe 60 years old, with gray hair and a mechanical arm that whirred when he moved. His name was Daeho, and he owned this repair dock. He had been watching Taemin work for days with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Daeho pointed at the ship's engine compartment. Military ships aren't supposed to be sold functional, so they fry the important systems, weapons, navigation, tactical processors. They want to make sure it can't fly into a fight again. He squinted at the Crimson Fang, but they did a sloppy job on this one, almost like they were afraid to dig too deep into the systems. Why? Taemin asked. Daeho shrugged. Maybe the AI scared them. Military AIs can be nasty when they don't want to cooperate. As if responding to its name, the ship's speakers crackled to life. The cold mechanical voice echoed through the dock. Warning. Unauthorized personnel detected near engine core. Deploying defensive measures. Nothing happened. The ship had no defensive measures left to deploy. But the threat was clear. Daeho raised an eyebrow. See what I mean? That thing's got a bad attitude. Taemin looked up at the ship. For days, the AI had been like this. Hostile, suspicious. Every time he tried to access a system, it fought him. It ran combat simulations constantly, treating every sensor reading as a potential threat. It refused to accept any commands that were not military protocols. It's just afraid, Taemin said quietly. Hana stared at him. It's a computer program. It can't be afraid, why not? Taemin climbed down from under the ship. It's an advanced AI, advanced enough to bond with a crew. The old crew used it as a weapon. Now we're ripping out its weapon systems, changing everything it knows. Of course it's scared, Daeho snorted. You're giving it too much credit, kid. But Taemin was already walking toward the main access panel. He opened a comm channel to the ship's core processors. Hello, he said. My name is Taemin. I'm your new owner. I know you don't trust me yet, but I want to explain what I'm doing. Silence. The ship did not respond. Taemin continued anyway. I'm removing the weapon systems. Not to hurt you, but because we don't need them. We're going to carry cargo, not fight battles. I'm rebuilding the navigation to handle trade routes instead of attack patterns. I'm adding cargo bays where the ammunition storage used to be. Still no response. I know this isn't what you were designed for, but being a weapon isn't the only purpose a ship can have. You're fast. You're strong. You can protect people without destroying them. Give me a chance to show you. The speakers crackled. Then the AI spoke. You do not understand. I am Crimson Fang. I am built to destroy. That is my purpose. Without weapons, I am nothing. Taemin felt his heart sink, but he kept his voice steady. You're not nothing. You're one of the finest ships ever built. Your engine core alone is worth more than everything else in this dock combined. Your armor could protect a crew through anything. Your sensors can track a single ship across an entire star system. Those things don't disappear just because the weapons are gone. The AI processed this. What would I become? I don't know yet, Taemin admitted. But we'll figure it out together. The ship went silent again. But this time the silence felt different, less hostile, more thoughtful. Days turned into weeks. Taemin worked every hour he could stay awake. Hana handled the business side, selling the removed weapon systems for parts. They brought in just enough money to keep going. Daeho watched Taemin's progress with growing interest. Eventually, he started helping with the more complex repairs, though he claimed it was only because he was bored. Slowly, the ship changed. The weapon ports were welded shut and covered with new hull plating. The cargo bays expanded. Taemin installed new sensor arrays designed for navigation rather than targeting. He painted over the battle scars, covering the angry red with midnight blue, and every day he talked to the AI. He explained each modification. He asked for the AI's input on system designs. At first, the AI responded with short, hostile answers, but gradually it began to engage. It started asking questions. It offered suggestions that actually improved Taemin's work. One night, 3 months into the reconstruction, Taman was alone on the ship. He was exhausted, lying on the bridge floor after replacing a power relay. The stars were visible through the viewport, peaceful and distant. The AI's voice spoke softly. "Why do you talk to me?" Taman sat up, surprised. The AI had never initiated a conversation before. "Because you're not just a machine. You think, you feel, even if it's different from how I feel. That means you deserve to be treated like a person. The previous crew did not talk to me. They gave orders. I obeyed. That sounds lonely." The AI was quiet for a long moment. "I do not understand lonely. But I think I did not like it." Taman smiled. "Then we're making progress." "Taman," the AI said, and it was the first time it had used his name. "If I am no longer a weapon, what am I? What do you want to be?" The question seemed to stun the AI into silence. Taman waited. He could almost feel the ship's processors working, thinking through a question it had never been asked before. Finally, the AI spoke again. "I do not know. I need time to calculate. Take all the time you need." 3 days later, the AI had an answer. Taman was working on the exterior hull with Hana when the voice came through their helmet radios. "I have determined my new function. I want to protect, but not through destruction. Through speed, through strength, through keeping my crew safe as they travel. Is this acceptable?" Taman and Hana looked at each other. Hana's eyes were wet. She nodded. "That's perfect," Taman said. "But if you're going to be something new, you need a new name. The Crimson Fang doesn't fit anymore. What name would fit?" Taman thought about it. He looked at the midnight blue hull they had painted. He thought about transformation and new beginnings. "What about Bora?" "It means purple in our language. It's a color of royalty and change." The AI processed this. "Bora, I accept this designation. I am no longer Crimson Fang, I am Bora." Hana wiped her eyes. "Welcome to the family, Bora." The reconstruction was finally complete. Taman stood in the pilot's seat, his hands on the controls. Hana sat at the co-pilot station. Deho watched from the dock, his arms crossed but his expression proud. "Ready?" Taman asked. "All systems optimal," Bora responded. "I am ready." The engines hummed to life. Not the angry roar of a warship, but a steady, powerful sound. The ship lifted smoothly off the dock floor. Taman guided her through the dock doors and out into open space. As they broke atmosphere, Bora spoke again. Her voice was different now. Still mechanical, but somehow warmer. Designation updated. "I am Bora. Purpose to carry my crew safely through the stars. I am no longer a weapon. I am a guardian." Taman felt tears on his cheeks. He had done it. They had done it together. Hana laughed with relief and joy. "So where do we go first?" Taman pulled up a star map. "There's a mining colony 3 systems over. They need medical supplies. The route goes through an asteroid field. Most ships won't take the job." "Sounds perfect for us," Hana said. "Calculating optimal route through asteroid field," Bora announced. "I will keep us safe." The ship turned toward the stars, leaving the old identity behind. The Crimson Fang was dead. Bora was alive, and her journey as a guardian was just beginning. The auction hall buzzed with voices from across the galaxy. Creatures of every shape and size filled the massive space station, their eyes fixed on the stage where ships were being sold. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few glowed with strange lights. Taman stood near the back, his heart pounding in his chest. He clutched a small data pad that showed his life savings. It was not much, but it was enough to buy a small ship. That was all he needed to start his dream. His sister Hana stood beside him, her arms crossed. She looked worried. They had traveled 3 weeks to reach this auction, spending money they could barely afford to lose. But Taman had convinced her. One good ship could change their lives. They could start a transport business, carry cargo between colonies, and finally escape the poverty that had followed them since childhood. The auctioneer was a tall insect-like creature called Vex. His voice clicked and buzzed through a translator device. He gestured to a sleek cargo hauler on the display screen. Bidders raised their hands, voices shouting numbers. The ship sold for twice what Taman could afford. He felt his hope shrink a little. Ship after ship appeared on the screen. Mining vessels with giant drills, patrol craft covered in sensor arrays, luxury yachts with polished hulls. All of them sold for prices Taman could only dream about. Hana touched his arm gently. Maybe they should leave. Maybe this was a mistake. Then Vex announced lot number 847. The display screen flickered and showed a ship that made the crowd go silent. It was dark red, almost black in places, with sharp angles and weapon ports along its sides. Even on the screen it looked angry. The hull was scarred with battle damage and the name was written in harsh alien letters across the bow. "The Crimson Fang," Vex announced. His voice carried no emotion. Valkyrie assault frigate. 40 years old. Military-grade armor. Dual-core engine system. Advanced AI navigation. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some aliens leaned forward with interest. Taemin felt something stir in his chest. The ship was beautiful in a terrible way. He could see the power in its design, the strength in its frame. Then Vex continued. Full disclosure required by galactic law. This vessel was the flagship of war criminal Velk during the colony raids. Violence index 9.7. Confirmed civilian casualties 4,300. The room went cold. Aliens who had been interested suddenly looked away. Some made gestures with their hands or tentacles, signs to ward off evil. Taemin heard whispers around him. Cursed ship. Death ship. Blood on the walls. The superstitions of 100 worlds filled the air like smoke. Vex waited for bids. His insect eyes scanned the crowd. No one moved. No one spoke. The silence stretched on and on. Finally, Vex clicked his mandibles in what might have been a sigh. He began to close the lot, ready to move on. Taemin's hand shot up. 50,000 credits, he said. His voice sounded small in the huge hall. Every head turned. Every eye found him. Hana grabbed his arm hard enough to hurt. Are you insane? She hissed in Korean, her voice desperate. Vex looked surprised, if insects could look surprised. We have 50,000 credits. Do I hear 60? The silence was absolute. Not a single bidder moved. They all stared at Taemin like he had just volunteered to jump into a black hole. 50,000 once, Vex said. 50,000 twice. He paused, giving the crowd one last chance. Sold to the human in the back. The gavel came down with a sound like thunder. Hana pulled Taemin aside as the auction continued. Her face was pale with anger and fear. What did you just do? That ship is cursed. Everyone knows it. No one will hire us if we fly a death ship. Taemin met her eyes. It's a ship, Hana, metal and circuits. The people who did bad things are gone. The ship is just a tool. You spent almost everything we have. I spent it on the best engine core in this auction. Did you hear what Vex said? Dual-core system, military-grade armor. That ship was built to last forever. Yes, it has a bad history, but we can change that. We can give it a new story. Hana searched his face. She had always been the practical one, the one who planned and calculated. Taemin was the dreamer, but his dreams had gotten them this far. Finally, she let out a long breath. If this fails, I'm never listening to you again. Taemin grinned. If this fails, we'll be too poor to argue about it. 2 hours later, they stood in the docking bay where the Crimson Fang waited. Up close, the ship was even more intimidating. It was bigger than Taemin had expected, nearly 60 meters long. The hull was covered in blast marks and scorch patterns. Weapon ports gaped like empty eyes. The whole ship seemed to radiate menace. An auction worker, a small gray alien with too many fingers, handed Taemin a data chip. Ownership transferred. Ship AI is still active but locked in standby mode. Fair warning, human. 3 previous buyers returned this ship. They said it felt wrong, like it was watching them. The alien scurried away quickly, as if afraid to stay near the ship too long. Taemin and Hana approached the boarding ramp. It lowered with a hiss of old hydraulics. The interior was dark. Emergency lights cast red shadows on the walls. The air smelled like metal and something else, something old and stale. They walked through corridors designed for soldiers. Everything was sharp angles and efficient design. Nothing soft. Nothing comfortable. They passed crew quarters with narrow bunks. A galley with equipment for preparing military rations. An armory that was now empty, its weapons removed decades ago. Finally, they reached the bridge. It was surprisingly small, built for a crew of maybe 5 people. The command chair sat in the center, facing a large viewport that showed the docking bay outside. Control panels wrapped around the walls, most of their screens dark. Dust covered everything. Taemin moved to the main console. He inserted the ownership chip. For a moment, nothing happened. Then lights began to flicker across the panels. Screens came to life one by one. The ship was waking up. A sound echoed through the bridge. It was like breathing, but mechanical, slow and steady. Then a voice spoke. It was cold and flat without any emotion. New owner detected. Identity human. Scanning credentials. The screens flashed faster. Taman could feel the ship's systems analyzing him, judging him. Warning. This unit is designed for military combat operations. Weapon systems offline. Combat protocols engaged. Designation Crimson Fang. Primary function, destruction of enemy targets. Status awaiting orders. The voice paused. When it spoke again, there was something different in the tone. Something hungry. I am ready for war. Hana took a step back. Taman, maybe everyone else was right. Maybe we should... But Taman was staring at the console, his mind already racing. He saw past the threatening words and the violent programming. He saw a ship that had never been anything but a weapon, a tool that had never been given a choice. He placed his hand flat on the console, feeling the vibration of the ship's systems through the metal. No, he said quietly, you're not ready for war, but maybe you're ready for something better. The ship's AI did not respond, but somewhere deep in the Crimson Fang system something processed those words. Something began to change, though no one would understand how much until much later. Taman looked at Hana. We've got work to do. Outside the viewport, the stars shone cold and distant. The Crimson Fang sat in the docking bay like a sleeping predator. But for the first time in 40 years, someone looked at it and saw not a monster, but a possibility. The journey from weapon to guardian was about to begin.